Hey, good morning, guys. Hope you're off to a great start on Tuesday. This Tuesday. Sorry, it's not horribly early. It's like 10, 11 o'clock. Um, but I'm tired. It's been a long day already. Morning usually starts with taking care of plants, animals, making breakfast, coffee, cleaning up any odds and ends from the youngest, um, followed by reading and the news. It's just been busy. Anyhow, so today I want to share a couple cool stories with you. And they kind of lead into what I want to talk about. But the first one I actually read on Facebook. And it was the coolest act of kindness and selfless love that I I had read. Selfless love for a stranger, um, that I had seen in a while. Uh, well, both of them are really. One is human related, one is animal related. So anyhow, the founder of Little Caesars back in 1994, Mike Litch, um, who was the current owner and founder of Little Caesars, had heard a story about, or had read a story, I'm sure, about how Rosa Parks, one of the greatest civil rights influencers and leaders, had been robbed and beaten. She lived in a lower class neighborhood because she was poor and impoverished. Impoverished. Yes, she was poor. Didn't have any money, could barely afford her rent, barely afford her food, and then she was robbed and beaten, robbed of what she had. So, in 1994, when this happened, uh, Mike Litch had decided that that was wrong. Rosa Parks was 81 at the time. That it was wrong, and that somebody of her importance and value, I didn't deserve to live like that or be like that. I mean, think about it. She was an American icon, a face in the eyes of the civil rights movement, and yet um, was still poor and vulnerable. Um, just goes to show it could happen to anybody. But so what he did was he started a trust fund for her. He moved her out of her apartment, and with that trust fund, he took care of her the rest of her life. The trust fund was set up to meet all her needs, and her rent and all her bills were paid for until the day she died in 2008. I thought that was great. It just goes to show there is kindness in the world. Granted, that was 12 years ago that particular thing ended, but it just, I mean, that's a sign. It shows we can do this. We don't have to be angry and ugly. And the other one was animal related. Um, and I believe I saw this one on Facebook also. It was just a picture. But it was the picture in of itself was these two sheep in a herd, mom sheeps, and they were both with little lambs, with babies. And but the story below it talked about how the one sheep, the one mom sheep, the ewe, had twins, and the other mom had one child or one baby that was stillborn. Well, she sat beside the stillborn baby sheep until um, the farmer came out the next morning and removed the uh, deceased baby from her, um, and that entire day the mom was so distraught that she cried out almost the entire day. Well, the farmer goes out the next morning, and the mom sheep that had the twins had actually let go of one of her twins to this mom sheep that had the loss, so that way she would have a baby to raise of her own. That's now, granted, I don't know any people that would give up a child to give to a child. I don't even know if that's legal, but that was still an act of kindness. It was, she saw a fellow species that a fellow sheep that was in great pain and suffering great loss, and that was a way that this animal, whether she thought, oh, she's in great pain or anguish, and I have to do something for her. I don't think so. I don't know if sheep are quite that smart. All animals have some form of intelligence, but I don't know if that's quite where it goes. But she knew enough to say, I can fix this. And let's be honest, if I don't want to say lower species of animal, but if another animal on the planet can fix things one person at a time, remember, it always starts with one. One good act begets another. And although I see lots of good acts on the news now, and not so much of the hate side of it. I mean, there for a while, Walmart's parking lot was almost a TV show. I know it's still out there. My eyes aren't closed anymore. So, but this was an act of kindness. She fulfilled a need of a fellow sheep. And if they can do it, we can do it, I guess is what I'm getting at. But those are the two stories I saw this week. I try to do a story every week to start off Tuesdays. But those were two that caught my attention. The one about Rosa Parks was amazing. But it goes to show what we can do for each other if we try. And it doesn't have to always be some rich guy with some poor person. It can be, something as simple as you made a little too much food at dinner time, so you took some over to your neighbor who may need it. That's not uncommon for us. I work for a pizza shop. Occasionally, I'll bring home a little bit of extra food, or an extra pizza or whatever, to give to my neighbor. Not that they don't take great pride in anything, but they enjoy the meal every once in a while. It's a nice break. They don't get to get out much anymore, things like that. Anyhow, so lately I've been reading this book, and it's not like it's a story read. It's more of thoughts and philosophies of Mr. Rogers. It's right here. It's The World According to Mr. Rogers. Important Things to Remember by Fred Rogers, although it was published and written after his death by his wife. But it's something that he wrote before he died, and it's just thoughts and ponderings and outlooks on life that he felt was important. And like I said in my last Tuesday video, a while back, I decided that I'm going to take a Mr. Rogers approach towards life. It doesn't mean I don't get angry, but I think things through, and I try to show as much love and compassion as I can. And I'm trying to spread that, hoping that people will also take that, at least a little bit of it into their thought. So in the section I'm in now, it's about love, different forms of love. And he says in there, and I'm not quoting this, it's more of a paraphrase, that, love isn't a perfect state. It's caring, but to love somebody, as much as it's an emotion, it's the ability to strive to accept they are the way they are. That it's not superficial. It's you love them for their mistakes. You love them for their good qualities and their bad, and you're accepting of that. Like with me and Chris, I know I am at times very hard to live with. I am demanding. I am blunt and to the point. I expect things that to go quicker and smoother than they should, and yet I know her love for me never waves. It's as strong now as it was the day we met, if not probably a little stronger. And I'm the same with her. She's not perfect. She has many perfect qualities, but she overall isn't perfect. Yet, the things that make me nuts, I accept because I love her overall, which kind of gave me a different outlook on love. I was always under the impression that with love, you can love several things, and in some aspects, this is still true. I'll explain. So, but I always thought, I love Chris different than I love my dog, than I love my kids. But when you look at it in the aspect of to love somebody as being acceptance of all their qualities, good and bad, then the love is really no different. It is. I love them all equally, but for different reasons. Different qualities, different goods and bads. Now I mean that doesn't. And I'm talking about love. I'm not talking about raw emotion. Like holding hands, going out on a date, and whatever. Versus that's completely different. This is love. This is how your heart feels. True love. And by keeping that frame of mind and thinking that way, I think that like when I teach my kids love, which they don't get it at first, nobody gets love right off the bat, and how you should love somebody or compared to how you do, it's a lesson learned. Well, where do you start learning everything? You learn it from your family. So you kind of set the tone inadvertently for generations to come. Oh, the other thing with the how you love, I love my pots and pans, but it's not for their, I guess it could be for their good qualities and their bad qualities. They don't have many bad qualities, but they're really good at what they do. But that, loving an inanimate object, I love the way my stylist did my hair. That's completely different. I think I'm talking about people to people interaction pretty much. But anyhow, on the generational thing, Sam, that's enough. Sam, that's enough. Sorry, my dog doesn't have a shut-off switch when it comes to her drinking water. So I have to let her know. If not, she will literally drink an entire gallon of water at once. I don't know why that is. I think it's a fault in her wiring, so to speak. So we have to ration how much water she drinks at a time, or it makes her sick. So anyhow, teaching love, like anything else you teach your children, is very important because it's something they're going to pass on to their kids, to their grandkids, to their great grandkids, which is yours only, a generation behind. So it'd be your kids, your grandkids, great grandkids, great great grandkids. But the point being, they'll pass on the lessons learned from you, and that will hold true on several things. But love and this understanding of it is a rather important thing, because that can come with, that main structure of love can come with passion, with compassion, understanding, having a bit of self-worth, can all come from teaching them how to love things, in a positive format and accepting differences. It could open their eyes to, not looking at somebody for their, for the color of their skin. They love them for who they are and not what they look like. And, or if they have a disability, it can change, you set the tone for them to not look at that disability, but look at the person. If everybody, I think, taught their kids love in this aspect, we would solve a lot of problems. Sorry, I wrote down notes because, like I said in previous videos, my memory isn't quite as sharp as it used to be. It's almost like I flood my brain with too much stuff at once to say, and I forget half of what I'm going to say in the process. I'll work on that someday. Maybe I'll take one of those, magic pills that, restore your brain functions. So I guess my thought on it is, I never understood, I guess, in some aspects, I never looked at to understand this side of what love is. I was looking at it a little differently. Not a whole lot differently, but a little differently. And I wanted to share this with you. Like I said, most of the things I probably talk about on Tuesdays in the next few weeks, because I'm trying really hard not to talk about politics, although it's a true passion of mine, good, bad, or indifferent. And I really want to talk about some life lessons learned. And this book, like I said, not that I'm promoting it by any means. I was never asked to promote it, but it's just a really good book. It allows you to think and see a different point of view. And it's always good to see different points of view. And I said I just happened to be on this chapter. As a matter of fact, last week's video about strength came from this book. I only get about one day and about maybe an hour to read at a time. So, and that's a week. So I take that the last couple of weeks it's been reading this book. And so I want to touch on highlights from that book, unless something really weird comes up, or exciting, or some big event, good or bad, that comes to be, then I'll probably just talk about life lessons for the most part, or whatever I want to talk about. It's Tuesday Table Talk, and unless you guys give me some ideas of things to talk about, we're just going to keep talking about what I want to talk about. So, remember, love is an acceptance of all things good and bad in a person. You've decided to accept that. Don't try to change it. You can never change a person. Only they can change themselves. And it's something that, if taught right, you can pass down for generations and be proud of. Because when your child walks out that door, that they're going to treat people with equality and respect, and the gratitude that another person deserves. I think that's it. All right. Tomorrow we'll be doing for Let's Cook Dinner on Wednesdays. We're going to do some goulash. It'll be pretty awesome. At least our version of goulash. And I don't know, we'll see what's going on Thursday for Thursday water change, but there definitely will be one. And then we'll definitely can something for Friday. I've got a whole list of things to can. I got to make vegetable stock. We're getting ready to make some more barbecue pulled pork in a can. I found a recipe with, and in my last canning video I said Karen, and I think it's Carol for the Thrifty Chic Housewife. Anyhow, she's a wonderful lady. I highly recommend checking her out. Her videos are great. She cooks, she cans, she does, in the beginning at any rate, she was doing some tutorials. Her channel has a lot to offer at any rate, so I would highly recommend checking her out if you haven't. And then Kent Rollins. But matter of fact, the goulash we're going to make is based off of one of his recipes for goulash. I just added my own stuff to it to make it mine, and not just his. When you cook, you should always change a recipe to make it your own. Add what you might think tastes good to it, and then that way, you can say you participated and didn't just follow. It's okay to lead, or add to or change. At times, change isn't bad. Not all the time. Most of the time, change is good, and done for a reason. Anyhow, I'm going to quit rambling. That's what the next few videos look like. And we'll take it from there. All right? I love you guys. Tell somebody else you love them. It'll probably make their day a whole lot better. All right? Have a good one. Talk to you later.